Good morning. Good morning, it's time to get out of bed.
I thought you got there instead of.
Well, if he doesn't stand up to tell you about Skyscracher, I will have to do that instead. Skyscracher is my own hard, getting over it inspired game, just with the twist that you actually have good
controls.
So give it a try, it's free on itch.io. Hello and welcome to my review of everyone's favorite GTA on steroids, Saints Row. The video game series Saints Row has been around since 2006, but I played the newest Saints Row because it was free on Epic Games. I had never heard or seen Saints Row before, so I was a bit surprised to find a GTA-like behind it. Its not serious tone catch me from the beginning, even if the intro was a little weird. The intro made the game look like a very cheaply made third-person shooter. But as soon as I got in the whole open world and the next few missions, I got that wasn't the case. I enjoyed the first few minutes with it and immediately began to do all the side missions and things to collect because I knew I wanted to 100% this game. And I did it. The main thing that made the game for me so good was the not serious tone of it. All the stupid conversations, the funny costumes, completely over the top story and the third wall breaks from the game. You can clearly tell from all my yapping that I enjoy this game very much. But as I went on YouTube to find a guide for a collectible, I was confronted by many videos which say that the game is absolute crap. But I didn't feel like this at all. It was the complete opposite. I think the people making these claims should say that because the other Saints Row games were better. But as a newcomer, I had a great time most of the playtime. Yes, there were some general hiccups, especially if you go for 100%, because it is repetitive sometimes. If the game were just a bit bigger, I wouldn't have enjoyed the game as much as now. So it was a good decision to make the map not too big. But let's talk about the map. The map goes for a Mexican South USA aesthetic, but mixes it with a super modern city. The city itself is very varied with different looks. The old town with small houses and the big skyscrapers. The casinos with the luxurious and noble district with the golf course. What isn't varied is the desert around it. The left and the right desert don't show any striking difference and you explore them all the same. The map also looks very good because of the graphics. I could play this game very well on my little laptop and the game just looks phenomenal, especially at night or in the morning. It's also very cool that there is a cheat to set the time of day and the weather, if a sandstorm annoys you. Yes, there is weather in the game, but I only got sandstorms and once I got a foggy atmosphere. Sadly, there are some graphical glitches. Most of them occur if you fly a helicopter. The LOD swapping is also very noticeable. On foot you will encounter way less of them, but you may see an NPC just shaking the hell out. And there are also many other bugs in the game. But I just encountered one in which I had to restart the mission. But clipping into the floor and some buildings isn't very difficult if you know what you are doing. Some bugs are funny, like the A-pose bug, and others are a bit annoying. The most annoying one is when I fought Marshall one time and the sound got messed up real bad. I seriously thought my headset was broken because the sound stayed bad after the fight. So I plugged out my headphones to play without them and searched for new headphones later. 2 days later, I got that bug again, and then I noticed it was from the game because my headphones were still plugged out. If this didn't happen, I would have gotten new headphones. So yeah, the map definitely isn't perfect, but how is the gameplay? You can do the flaws. Best feature of the game for sure. The shooting and fighting feels very snappy, but not realistic. I think this is a good thing because you can fight more easily and don't have to wait for long animations. There are many weapons to choose from, some realistic, some very future inspired and some are just for fun, like a boxing glove. You fight against 4 different kinds of enemies: idols, Marshall, Panteros, and the police. Every group has its different enemies and mini-bosses, so there is some variety. Every group has also a region where they are, so the police is just everywhere. Marshall is mainly on the left side of the city. The idols and the Panteras are on the right side of the city. If you hit a car or a person of a specific group, this meter fills up, and in every section of the meter, different kinds of enemies will spawn. If you fill the meter to full, a mini-boss appears, and if you defeat it, your notoriety goes away. This system is not very complex, but it's fun. But let's get to the difficulty of the game. I played on normal, and it was very easy. I almost never died. The only thing you can die to in this game is level 4 Marshall. Man, these guys kicked my butt. But after a few weapon upgrades, I kicked them back. Story and side missions are all very easy and you won't die. But you can fail the missions sometimes. That's the fighting, but what else can you do in this game? Your main objective besides the missions are some little bits of things to collect, like outfits, weapons, weapon skins, cars, upgrades for cars and weapons, and of course money. Some are very easy, like those dumpsters, and some things are very annoying, like hidden histories. The game isn't that difficult to 100% because you can keep your eye on each district to find out what is missing. But how do you get from place to place? There are some different ways to traverse the city, like walking. I want to see someone just walking everywhere the whole game. You can drive cars, helicopters and boats, but I never used boats besides in one story mission. The vehicles feel good to control but not very realistic because your car is almost indestructible. Let's get to the side missions. There are different kinds of side missions, and every single one has a very different goal. And the gameplay is also different, but it can get repetitive after a while, so try to do different side missions instead of doing the same kind all the time. But where the game really shines is in the story missions. They have cool cutscenes, interesting places to explore, and completely over-the-top stories behind them. I just like this over-the-top nature of the game, and the story missions perfectly reflect that. But let's get to the story. You play as your self-made boss, and you live in an apartment with Kevin, Nina and Eli. Your 3 friends are pretty varied and they play a big part in some of the side missions. For example, Eli plays this IRL game where everyone builds forts and stuff, and you help him make his own clan and defend it. Because the IRL game is just a game, you don't actually kill anyone with the weapons, and your takedowns while playing those missions are also softened. The final mission is also pretty funny. Nina has some beef with the Panteros and you get revenge on them. And Kev is the least interested because he just gets kidnapped by the idols and you have to rescue him. Your own character has to deal with Marshall most of the time. But back to the main story. You live in an apartment with them and you get fired from your job at Marshall. So you have to make money. And you discover this old abandoned church. You then proceed to make the church your HQ and you start a criminal empire called the Saints. You build different shops and companies which make your life easier in the open world and expand your criminal empire. You also deal with all four threats: the police, Panteros, idols and Marshall, and you basically get the whole city under your control. On the way there are many different hurdles and you even get a new member for your team for some time. Well, that's basically Saints Row in a nutshell. And I know many people hate this game, but I would give it a try and buy it when it's on sale. But until then, get my game for free on itch.io. Bye!